it's literal when people are like, the baby's kicking my ribs. Like, it's not like a figure of speech. It's like somebody is kicking your internal organ.
Hi, welcome to 9+9, the honest pregnancy and birthing podcast. And after last week's episode, I thought we need some cheerfulness and joy. So today we hopefully have a very cheerful episode, because I feel like this podcast for me is I speak into the void, but I know you guys can hear me, and I feel pregnancy is a very lonely journey, and hence we are here to make it less lonely and spread some joy. And the most cheerful mother I have ever met, who was also quite pregnant, because we wanted to have a live birth on this podcast. Yeah. So we'll just wait it out. It's Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
I try to make my segues into the introduction better and better, but they're becoming worse and worse with every episode. So here's the most cheerful pregnant lady I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
Which is why I have called you.
Nice, thank you.
Because I wanted to know if there is a possibility in this world that you can have just a very gleeful experience of waiting for the baby to come.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, have you had no negative symptoms so far?
No, I've definitely had negative symptoms. Yeah, like I'm so tired, and I feel like, even this morning I was like nauseous, and I was like, what is this? But in general, it's not been like so bad, I think.
What do you do when you get nauseous?
I don't know. I try to sleep, I think, if I can. Like, my everybody would ask, did she have morning sickness or whatever? My husband was like, she was asleep the whole first trimester. Like, there was no time. But if I have to push through, I think, like, sipping on hot water, I don't know, like sometimes a little caffeine helps, I think.
It's okay. You're like, oh my God, I'm admitting it publicly that I'm having coffee.
Yeah. But it's like, it's confusing because drinking also kind of like, but it can make the nausea worse, like it's like, oh, I don't want to drink it. But then when I do drink, it kind of goes away a little bit, the nausea. But luckily my nausea, like I've only thrown up a few times with pregnancy. So I hate throwing up.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it's better to not eat and not throw up.
Yeah. I saw something on Instagram that was like, eat watermelon if you're nauseous, because if it comes up, then it like doesn't taste that bad and the texture's not that bad. So I do that.
Those are things to consider.
Yeah.
What are you gonna eat? I had coconut water.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's also great. But it's been very difficult to schedule you because you're so busy with work.
Yeah.
And I feel it's also important to mention that you can be pregnant and you can be a mother, and you can also actually have a work life.
Yeah. True.
Which is, and your work is super interesting. Usually we don't talk so much about other people's work because it's not really what we talk about. But I feel what you do relates to this in some way. So can you describe what it is?
Yeah. So I work in OneHealth, which is an approach to public health that focuses on how the health of the environment is interconnected with the health of humans and the health of animals, like non-human animals, wildlife, agricultural animals, domestic animals, that kind of thing. So it looks at like the whole ecosystem of health, and like humans live not in a silo, like we live within our environment, and we live with each other, and we live with, the crows that are outside.
The crows that is outside.
Yeah. And that all can affect, your health. And so, I think I've always been drawn to thinking about like ecology and connections. And so I think that's also why I am very excited to be pregnant, because it's like the closest you can be to another thing,
Yeah, you're like the embodiment of creation.
Yeah, and like connection and interdependence and stuff. So
do you feel that? Like, is there, like, how does this show in your experience as a pregnant woman?
So I said this to a friend, and I feel like she was taken aback by it, but I was like, I really love being pregnant because I feel so like an animal. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, because I think humans don't always like to acknowledge that we're animals. And I think it's just like, like seeing a pregnant cat on the street or something, and you're like, if I see myself in her, like in like waddle or whatever it is. And
like actually early I couldn't tell whether an animal is pregnant or not. Yeah. It's like when you can't tell the age of kids, you're like, okay, it can't walk, so it must be more than one. And it can't form full sentences, so less than 6. It's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And the same was with me with pregnant people and animals, and I was like, is it just fat or limping? Or is it actually like...
Yeah.
But now I can tell. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this cat is pregnant. This is how you walk when you have other tiny beings inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're like part of this experience that's like, I mean, a big part of pregnancy, I feel like, is your body changing in ways that you just like have no control over. And so like seeing that in another creature, it's just like, for me, it's comforting. For other people, maybe it's
creepy.
Yeah, who knows? I think that just feeling like embodied, like I feel like we had talked about this earlier, like so much of pregnancy, or my experience of it, is just like a surrendering, that I feel like a lot of times we can just go through life kind of just like with our brain, and like we think about the mind-body connection maybe when we're doing yoga or like working out or something, but it's like I think pregnancy demands it kind of constantly. And
yeah, it's a constant mind-body connection.
It's humbling. Yeah, it's like the body will be like, you will experience being in a body. And I think that that's like a grounding experience, and it also connects you with, like, when you have a body or whatever, you're like you're alive, you're an animal, and you're part of biology or that kind of thing. So, and you're also so much more sensitive to your surroundings, like, or I find that I am, like the heat or whatever you're consuming, like you're just like constantly like,
everything seems to be like
feeling
amplified. So what's the weirdest thing you've experienced so far being pregnant?
I mean, I think the movements feel weird. I think
your movements,
like, no, the baby's movements. Okay. Like, I feel like they're a little unsettling, because sometimes it does feel like there's a creature inside of you. I mean, there is a creature inside of you that you have no, like, I can't be like, kick now, like daddy's hands on the belly, like it's time, like it just has its own thing. And then I feel like how I expected kicks to be would be like kicking against the wall, but I feel like at least my baby's movements are like, and especially now because everything's tighter, they're like grazing the side of the wall. Or like, have you seen Dune?
Yes.
Yeah, the worms under the surface. Like, did it feel like this for you?
No, for me it felt more like one thing, though, for sure, that film Alien. Was it Alien?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That scene I can never forget. And I was anyway like having such a, like, what is this thing inside of me? It just makes me sick all the time. And just cut it out already. And just when I had this thought, you see that scene in Alien, I do not recommend watching it.
Yeah,
where it's like she's on that table and that alien is growing inside of her, and she's just slicing up her own stomach and getting out the and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, like it feels, because you don't really know what's moving. Like, I'm like, what? I can't see what's going on. It feels like,
Nobody can really explain to you like how kicks feel. Like, I heard somewhere that like it feels like passing gas. And actually, I do have to admit, like, even now that I have no kid, I'm like, oh, that was a kick. And I looked down, I'm like, oh no, there's no baby. That was just lunch. That was not a kick, it's phantom pain.
Oh, I do think it feels like gas. Like, I don't think I knew, because it's my first pregnancy, I think I felt the baby moving earlier on, but I thought it was gas because I had so much gas. So, but now I'm like, oh no, it's just the baby. Because there's kind of like a gurgle to it or something. Like, I don't know. And and
sometimes you can see the feet also.
Yes, and I was like, watching it move, it's, I think that it feels weirder than,
or you can see it from like outside. Ooh,
yeah. It's like,
you take videos of it.
I've tried, but I haven't like completely caught it.
Your kid is not a performer. They're like, oh my god,
stop what you're doing. Not a performer.
But the tighter it gets, I think also the less space there is for them to move.
I have a picture saved on my phone that I saw on the internet that's like the a woman's belly button and then the baby's foot. Like, I'll show it to you after. It's crazy.
I put it in the show notes for all of you to see.
Yeah, I like think about it often, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen like any features.
But you've seen the features on the 3D scan.
Yeah, crazy.
That, I think, is the creepiest thing that I have ever seen. Like, I mean, your baby's cute and has dimples and everything. God, dimples. Like, you already know.
But the baby looks different in the different photos, so it is like, what is... Yeah, it is kind of... Some of them are creepy, some of the images, because they have different tones to them. Like, the pink ones are kind of like... Yeah.
Yeah, like, I didn't ask for a 3D scan because I was so scared it would be so creepy.
You didn't do it?
No, he just gave it to me. And I was like, I did not ask for this information, but now I have it. Yeah. It's like his nose is really weird. I hope he doesn't come out with that.
Because they're all squished. Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, they're all squished inside. What's the weight of the baby right now? What are they telling you?
I don't remember. I think it was like...
I like how you're so chill. It's great. I absolutely love it. You're like, I guess, I mean, it's kicking, it's fine.
Yeah, that is kind of my, I feel like, approach. Like, I had an ultrasound. I can't remember if I told you this, but I had an ultrasound at 4 weeks or something. Because I found out I was pregnant, and then I went to the doctor to confirm it. And she was like, we have to get you an ultrasound. To like make sure it's not an ectopic pregnancy. And I was like, okay, but I had like no risk factors for an ectopic pregnancy. And I was like, well, I mean, you want to see the baby. I mean, I knew at that point, 4 weeks pregnant, what, you conceived 2 weeks ago. So it's like a clump of cells.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess you do what the doctor says. At that point, I was like, whatever. And they did the transvaginal ultrasound, which I have thoughts on. And they... we're like, oh, well, we can't really see if the baby's there. So either it's like not developing or you conceived late. And I was like, okay. So I was like, I guess I'm just going to see if I start bleeding. Yeah. And then I think that kind of put in my head. So I was like not happy with the whole experience. And then I was just like, I have no control over this. Like I can obsess over like whether or not the pregnancy is going to stick or not. Or I can just be like, that was kind of a crazy thing to say to somebody. Like, yeah. And so I think that I just kept that kind of mentality.
I hope you're not at the same doctor, so.
No, I switched. I like shop around for doctors is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the transvaginal ultrasounds is like you can ask to insert them yourselves.
Oh,
and
really?
Yes, and that, or the probe. Because, and that, the next time I had one, it was like such a different experience because, like, then I clenched less when they were inserting it because I inserted it. And yeah, so the first time, yeah, it was just weird. And then they're like jigsawing it around. Or I don't know, like my doctor now is male and I feel like he's gentler in a way because like maybe he doesn't have that biology.
That's what my mom always used to say. Yeah. She was always like, you should find a male gynecologist. And I was like, yuck.
I really didn't want one.
Never in my life will I do that. But then actually, I mean, my gynecologist was also male eventually. Because they don't know, they're maybe less like, and how some women are like, especially older women, they're like, every woman before you has gone through this. Like, what are you creating such a ruckus, bitch? Yeah. And a man would never dare saying this because he actually has no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, maybe this is fine on your body, but on my body, this feels crazy. So please. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you shopped around.
And then I shopped around and I'm so happy that I did. Because also, I think the first doctor that I saw, she was like, had such kind of unrealistic, she was like, avoid salt or like eat this much salt. And like had all of these things like no exercise, no sex, no da 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 da. And I was just like, I don't want to feel like a failure in pregnancy. Like I want a doctor who feels like a cheerleader for me. And like, I think I believe a lot in moderation. So I was like, I can't fully avoid salt. And first of all, that doesn't even make sense to me why you would. I understand not having excessive salt, but like the body needs electrolytes. Like you can't. It was like, this doesn't. Yeah. But maybe for another person, that doctor is like the approach that they would want. But for me, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they want to be kept on a tight leash.
Yeah, I did not.
Not so tight a leash.
Yeah, I did not want to be kept on a tight leash.
For 9 months.
Yeah.
I want to talk about OneHealth, your research about pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I find that's really like, if you talk about birth weight, not only like your genes, it also depends where you are, right?
A lot of environmental factors can affect birth weight. And so I worked on this project that was looking at the effects of climate change on sexual and reproductive health outcomes. And so when we think about low or birth weight, it can be a predictor of a bunch of different health outcomes later on. And birth weight tends to be really sensitive to things like extreme heat events or, nutrition and stress and air pollution, like so many different factors. It could also be due to genetics or, whatever the diet is, or also so many intergenerational factors like famines and things that like your great grandparents have gone through can be like heritable. So, but the approach that we were taking with the study is like with climate change, if we can identify these.
Wait, there's this guy in a window taking a picture of us.
Oh, do you know him?
No. And you're on the first floor.
Also, those stairs are like dark.
Yeah, you really made an effort.
It's not super. Like, this is not a place you would think somebody would walk on. So, but basically, like with the heat and stuff, it's like what are the ways that we can adapt to climate change or become resilient to climate change? And it's like providing more shade or these types of things could like help prevent those effects. But
you would also think that if somebody lives in Sweden and it's really cold, you need more fat on your body as a baby when you're born just to be able. So obviously when it's hot, you need less fat, I would assume. Yeah. Then you come out leaner.
I think like what is considered probably a normal birth weight must be like dependent on the region. Yeah. Who knows?
I think most of these charts feel very American. Yeah. Like they feel very like, okay, if you're like 1.80 or whatever you say that in feet, then all these charts make sense. Yeah. But if you're like me or even like you, it's really hard to achieve those like birth weight and weight gain and all of that. Yeah.
And I think the expectations change with time, like as different health conditions become more common or whatever. Yeah. So.
But good that you're taking it as so like easygoing.
I try.
Yeah. When you were planning your pregnancy, did you plan it or was it just like go with the flow?
I think it was also kind of go with the flow. But I think I think you can plan if you have access to birth control not to get pregnant. It's hard to kind of plan exactly when to get pregnant. Like you can provide opportunities to get pregnant, but at least this was my perspective and my husband's perspective. Like some of my friends are doctors, and I remember one of them was like, yeah, I expect to like go off birth control and get pregnant in 3 months. And I was like, whoa, that kind of like shook me because I was like, I just expecting my body to perform like that and just do this thing that it's never done before. That's like life altering. It within 3 months, it just seemed like to have such an expectation of your body to do that felt like, oh, I don't want to do that to myself exactly. Like, I don't want to put that expectation on me, like performance anxiety to get pregnant or something. I was like, whoa. And also I was like, it doesn't work like that. Like, yeah, maybe for like 60% of people it does, but whatever. And I think my husband and I both had people in our family who it took a long time for them to get pregnant. And so we just wanted to go in kind of open-minded and without so much pressure of like a timeline, I guess. But then that said, like life happens. So one of my best friends got married and then I was like, oh, I really hope I get pregnant before her wedding so that I can make it to the wedding and travel. So then it's like you say you have these ideas and then it's like, of course, it feels different when you're actually like kind of considering pregnancy happening.
Yeah, and then you're in your first trimester and you're like, I'm not coming to your wedding.
Not that. Yeah, exactly. So, no, the babies do like the same month as her wedding. There's always something, I think. And
difficult for some women, like you need to plan your pregnancy, right? Like even when you go the corporate ladder. There's always this like, should I just get pregnant 2 years into my job and then take out 4 years and then full steam when I'm 30 or whatever, go and just do career for the rest of my life? Or do I want to achieve something, and then when I'm 42 and I've achieved everything, then I'll take out time? And so it's such a conundrum of
like, what's the right thing? I think you put that well. I definitely was struggling with that because I got my PhD and then I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after getting my PhD. Like, I just really loved the experience of doing my PhD, but I knew that I didn't want to be in academia. And I was like, I don't know, work for a nonprofit, which, like, what does that mean? There's so many different roles and jobs, but like when you're researching, they don't necessarily prepare you so much for the different career directions. So then I felt like, I want job security so that I can get pregnant. And I kept like putting so much emphasis on that. And then I was like, but also so much.
Also really mean. You're like, I'd love to work for you so that in 6 months I can survive.
Yeah, I was like, then finally I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, obviously there's like a lot of benefits to having work, and many people, you need work, like financial stability or this kind of thing, to like consider having a kid. But I was like, this is not, I think I wanted like certainty in my career, or I thought that I needed certainty in my career before having a kid. Like, I feel like I just kind of came to peace that like I might have to figure those things out simultaneously, because I think I just felt such a desire to have a baby, and it felt like baby fever or whatever, and I had felt it for a long time. And like my husband was also excited to have a baby, and my parents had both lost one of their parents before I was born, and I was the firstborn. So it was really important to me that like if like that my parents be alive, and you don't have control over that. So I just didn't feel as much reason to wait, except for this career thing. And then I remember my mom said, she was like, you can have it all, but just like not all at once. So like you can have your work and stuff and have the baby, but it might not all like kind of line up in the way that you think. And maybe if I had picked a different career path, like, I don't know, if I was a CPA, like an accountant or something that was a little bit more straightforward, it would be easier to like, or a nurse or something where it's like, okay, there's a job and then I like return to the same job. Whereas my work is just a little bit more, and it's not a linear career path, I guess. So, and I didn't really think that through.
Which is great, because you anyway don't know what's going to happen. So you might as well have a kid.
Yeah, exactly. But now I lost my train of thought with that. Oh, but then the way that I started thinking about it that made me feel a little bit more comforted is like, do you like cooking?
Yeah.
Okay. Like how you can have you're cooking different things and the burners are at different temperatures. I started seeing my life that way, because I was like, when I was in my early to mid 20s, my career was like, it took up so much space in my life, and I'm so glad that it did. But like, I would go and do research and like live in a tent for months at a time. Like, we were planning our wedding and I like went for 6 weeks to do field research. I had no cell service. I was like, you guys plan it, whatever, I trust whatever decisions you make, like I was like, this, like my work takes up more for me, like that's a higher priority. Whereas now I feel differently, like I want my family life to take up more space, because that's the thing that's like bringing me that sense of adventure and curiosity and stuff that my work used to give me, but now I'm feeling I'm getting it in this other direction. But it's not that I like don't want work. It's just I want the burner. The burner is just like
you
lower.
Put it on the back burner.
Yeah, I guess back burner is one of the things. So that's like how I have been visualizing it. It's like not off the stove. It's just like not the thing that's like getting
cooked right now.
Yeah,
that's a very.
So that made me feel better, because it's like
deep philosophical life advice.
I don't know. I just had to visualize it that way. Like, it took me like, I don't know, 6 or 8 months to like figure out, like, do I want to have a baby or do I want to figure out my job? And then luckily I decided, like, okay, like, let's stop not trying to have a baby, I guess. And like,
I mean, I love this approach, because whatever people throw at you, or the doctor throws at you, or your baby throws at you, you can just be like, it's a phase. It's all a phase.
It's temporary. Yeah.
Now, what have you planned for your birth?
Well,
Since now we plan births.
yeah, I guess.
Being so like going with the flow, and then I'm like, so what's your plan?
Well, I don't know. I would love to have a water birth. But and my husband will go around and he'll be like, yeah, she's having a water birth. And I'm like, we don't know what I'm having until after I've had it. And so I'm like, I'm preparing for the opportunity for a water birth. And I don't know if it'll work out. But so I'm doing the hypnobirthing courses and the Lamaze classes. I mean, I was like very interested in birth before getting pregnant. I was always very interested in pregnancy, I think. Like, I loved Animal Planet. Do you know Animal Planet? Yeah. That they had this show when I was growing up that was like, you could watch different animals giving birth and stuff. I thought it was like so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I was like always just interested in birth and stuff, and so I signed up for all these classes, which now I'm like, okay, it's stuff I like love learning about it, but it's also I'm just so tired in pregnancy, so I'm like, oh, I feel like I signed up, but I don't know, but there's nothing I want to take off the plate either. But
so you're reading those things, or is it podcasts, or is it?
It's like Lamaze classes I have with my doula, and there's like 4 of those, and then the hypnobirthing is like 5 classes and a book. Yeah, and it's now it's like my hobby preparing for birth, I guess. But I think that, and the hypnobirthing is like very focused on like a natural birth and that kind of thing. And I think I'm trying to hold the perspective that like all of these techniques that hypnobirthing offers should be useful to me in whatever type of birth that I end up having, because they're just relaxation techniques and like trying to reframe like the narrative around birth, what to expect when you go to the hospital, and like hear the different medical interventions that you might get, or hear the different procedures, and here's what's negotiable and what's not negotiable. And so kind of like both of them have birth videos involved, which has been so nice to watch, because
like you're watching other women give birth?
Yeah.
Oh my god, why would you do that?
Because they are like different than like the ones that you see on like sitcoms and stuff where it's like the woman screaming. Like in these, it's more.
Yeah, it's more like you actually see the birth. Yeah, I don't know if I would have wanted to see that before giving birth.
Yeah, maybe. But it's been nice to like see my husband watch them and see how he responds. And then thanks to me, like I didn't realize that the baby like hangs out in the birth canal for like some time. Like I was like, the baby doesn't just move through. Like, and they were like, no. So I was like, okay, I'm glad that I'm watching this, because otherwise I would have.
That again depends on the size of the baby. Yeah. I had somebody on my podcast, she said, sometimes they have this net. Oh. And she's like, I never knew what the net was for until my baby was born, and it just shot out.
Slid out?
It slid out. Oh, and they caught the baby in the net.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, one of them, the baby did kind of just like slide out, and the other one got stuck. The other one, it wasn't so much that it was stuck as much as like you saw the baby's head, and then she just sat back and she was like, not yet. And then like 2 minutes later, the baby like came out. Like it was like in between surges or contractions. And I was just like, ooh, I didn't know you could just be peaceful for 2 minutes with a baby like in your vagina. But so then I guess it's helpful for like expectations around birth, because even though maybe I watched those like Animal Planet videos,
you seem to be pretty like you're fine.
I was like, I didn't really know about that experience. It's different watching them as an adult when you're pregnant, being like, my body's gonna do that, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, so,
I think that's super brave. I still wouldn't want to watch a video like this.
No, but you've done it.
I know, but I don't want to. I'm quite glad that I can't see what I've been doing.
True, that makes sense.
Like even when you give water birth, like you don't really see, because your stomach is so big, you can't really see. It prevents you from seeing what actually is happening, which I think is a blessing.
Yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
It'd be more traumatizing for your husband, probably be like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of times the water birth, like birth home videos, yeah, you can't really see the baby come out.
The water is moving, and then there's also blood.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a lot of blood. There's very little blood, but like,
Good. Yeah.
It's nice. I feel like, yeah, that's also just, it's hard to know what to expect.
I think for your husband also to know, like, you know, appreciate, be like, yes,
Yeah.
it's really,
Yes.
it's like a superhuman.
Yeah. But I was asking him, I was like, because our doula came home and we had like a, I don't know, conversation. And I was like, yeah, are you nervous that you're going to like pass out or anything? Like even the C-sections, like watching those on Grey's Anatomy or whatever, like the fake ones, I'm always like, whoa, the like uterus comes out or whatever. It's major surgery. And he was like, no, I think I'll be okay. But he's a very chill person. So I was like, okay. I don't know if I would feel that way if I was the birthing partner. I think I would
I feel so helpless.
need to mentally prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've heard that like they should eat snacks or something so that their blood sugar
They should eat snacks. Yeah, pack some extra snacks for your husband, for your like birthing partner.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that they can survive the constant screaming. Actually, like not everybody's
Did
screaming.
you scream with your water birth? Or
No, in my water birth, no. Actually, but that was also like, I feel like the second birth for me was like so amazing because I knew what to expect. I knew what pain to expect.
Yeah.
Like, I was very chill with my first baby to the point that I did not watch birthing videos, and I just read this one hypnobirthing book. I think that lady who basically invented hypnobirthing, right?
yeah.
Where she's talking about the cat who gives birth.
Oh.
So that's basically what inspired her to start hypnobirthing, because
Oh,
she's like, I saw this cat, and she went into some hiding spot, and she just gave birth.
Yes.
So why can't we humans just give birth? And I was like, yes, I will just give birth. The baby will just come out, and that's fine. There won't be any screaming. Why would I scream? It's the most natural thing to do.
Yeah.
And then when I was actually in labor, I was like, what the fuck is happening? And second birth, because I think I knew what to expect. And also they put me in the tub very, very early because your labor is much quicker. So I was in the hospital and they put up the pool and I was there immediately.
Oh, nice.
And that was like, that water birth was like completely different experience because the pain just, I mean, I wouldn't say it goes away. It does not go away, but it's like when you have period pain and you put like a hot water bottle and it's that immediate, like it's still there, but it's relief. It's dipping. So that was really great.
Yeah. No, I think your birth stories have helped me too because I feel like I hope to have another baby. So I'm like, this isn't the only birth experience. I don't need to put everything on this. This is the first, like, we're going to see how it goes, you know? And I was kind of preparing my husband because he's getting very into the manifesting, the hypnobirthing, like this, it appeals to him. Like he's like, yeah, it's not painful, it's discomfort. I'm like, okay, but like,
bro, it's a fucking chainsaw going up your vagina. It is pain.
I'm like, let's not invalidate my experience. I understand that it's useful to reframe, but at the same time, so I was like, I would like to try to not have an epidural because I'm very intrigued. I'm very curious about how it will feel. And I don't want to like have to be hooked up to all this stuff and all the stuff that comes from the epidural. And I want to try the water. Like I love baths. So I was like, but I'm not anti-epidural. Like I was like, I might get there and be like, actually, this is not what I want, you know? So I was kind of preparing my husband because I had to first explain to him why I wanted to go on this whole hypnobirthing and everything. Then he got into it and then I was like, yeah, but I'm not like 1,000. Like, I'm not one of those
disappointed.
I'm not like one of those people that's like under no circumstances, no epidural. I'm like this, I don't know what this is going to be like. And so I was like, don't not let me have it. Obviously he would never have that control, but I was just like, you know, and like the second birth can always be something different. I mean, obviously the second birth, it's like a whole other opportunity. This is just like, I don't know what any of it feels like. And then, yeah, you're right. The second birth is like faster oftentimes. So then that makes it probably easier.
Yeah, in hindsight, like it was much more relaxed. Just knowing what you're getting into. Honestly, I think with everything in life, right? Once you know you're getting, even if you go to the dentist, like, I mean, it sounds terrible, but you know what you're getting into. You just close your eyes and you breathe through it, and you're like, okay, fine, it will get over. I've been here before. It's not pleasant, but it needs to be done. And then you get out eventually, and you'll be fine. But the first experience, there's so much uncertainty. Like, you want to be chill, but it's actually not that chill. Then, so it's like a it's a wonder box full of mysteries and surprises.
I hope so. Like, I like the idea of hypnobirthing really focuses on that fear, tension, pain, like triangle. And I think that should help me, like, regardless of, the ability to kind of, like, again, surrender to the experience and try not to clench the body and that kind of stuff. Because, like, back to the transvaginal ultrasound, like, it was so uncomfortable because I was, like, clenching. And so I'm hoping that this stuff will, like, help.
How many more weeks do you have?
I don't know. I'm 34 weeks now.
Ooh, so we actually could have a birthday.
Yeah, hopefully not staying. I'm not ready.
2 weeks later, 3 weeks
But who knows? But I don't know. But then oftentimes, like, first babies come late, right?
Even though I heard from a mom recently that who's also pregnant with her second kid, she was like, as long as it stays in, it's cool, because then I don't have to take care of it. Like, it makes me heavy and all of that, and I can't breathe and I can't, like, sit and whatever. But at least I don't have to wake up all the time and feed it. And, like, while having a second one, like, she has an older one, which is also only 3 years old, I think. So she's like, it's fine, can stay in for another 2-3 weeks. I'm completely fine. So I thought I was like, in hindsight, you're actually right.
Like, the postpartum's harder than the pregnancy. So 2 more weeks of pregnancy is not as bad.
Exactly. But so how you look at it. I love that positive attitude.
It's true.
Good on you. You gotta be positive.
But it's weird at this point being like, this is a full, pretty much fully formed human, like, that you're carrying around in your body. Like, I can't imagine, like, being 42 weeks and being like, this baby could have been out 2 weeks ago. Like, fully, because you can, like, feel them, like, pressing on you. And, like, I feel like at the beginning of pregnancy, people were like, oh, be careful bending or this kind of thing. And I was like, I'm fine, like, whatever. And now I'm like, no, I don't want to bend. I don't want to feel the baby's body in different positions.
Like in your lungs. I don't want to have feet in my lungs necessarily.
No, it's literal. When people are like, the baby's kicking my ribs, like, it's not like a figure of speech. It's like somebody is kicking your internal organs. It's so weird.
Good. That's why you can't eat so much, right? You eat like tiny portions.
So
what do you eat?
I love salad.
That's fine.
Like, I know, but apparently, you have to be careful with raw food or whatever. But I'm like, I wouldn't eat because they're light, and I feel like you get a lot of different things in them. But so, like, I like quinoa, like, salad with roasted veggies and stuff, and, like, kale. And I could have that all the time. I love mac and cheese.
Ooh.
So much. My mom gave me all of these boxes because she ate so much mac. Apparently, she ate a family-sized box of mac and cheese when she was pregnant with me every night. Yeah, crazy. And then fruit. I just have so much fruit. And, like, watermelon I have, like, every afternoon. Oh, so good. But, I, like, don't have what I don't want to have. I think that's one thing with pregnancy that has helped me be happy, is that I just do not put up with unnecessary discomfort. Like, during yoga class, I feel like before being pregnant, if I had to pee, I would just, like, hold it. And now I'm like, no, I'm uncomfortable enough with things that I cannot change. I'm not going to, like, wait for the break in yoga class. Like, I can take a break, you know what I mean? And just, like, go pee when I need to go pee and don't have to worry about it. Or, like, even some places, I just, like, bring my own food to them, or I'll eat ahead of time or something. I'm not going to, like, because there's a lot of food that I'm just, like, not interested in having or whatever right now because of the aversions. And so I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to do what's comfortable for me and not, I don't know, be as like people.
I think this is so amazing. You should keep this up when you're a mother. Like, you just do what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Like, who cares about everyone else? I mean, it's nice if your host cooked for you and you can tell her in advance that, like, listen, please excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Not happening.
Yeah.
You draw your own boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends texted me and she's like, my mom's age, so she's like had kids way earlier, and she was like, how are you feeling with your pregnancy? And I was like, oh, I just love within like pregnancy, I don't know, culture or whatever, like that there's such an emphasis on gentleness. Like in prenatal yoga or whatever, they're like, put some padding underneath your knees. And I'm like, I love this. I love being baby.
Being pampered.
Yeah, being pampered. And it's stuff that it's like you could do it any time. You can always like have extra pillows around. Like that's not like a major shift. And she was like, yeah, try to remember that as you go through. Like that doesn't need to be specific to pregnancy. Like,
that you can just be gentle.
Yeah.
And you can take you put your boundaries and you don't put up with anything uncomfortable in life.
Yeah.
This is great. I love this episode. It's full of philosophy. We'll make lots of reels.
So like a real
pregnancy philosophy, like how to give zero fucks.
I mean, but sometimes it's hard. Like with my dog, he keeps having to go to the vet right now because he has this ear issue. And I just finally was like, to my husband, I was like, I cannot take him to the vet anymore. Like, it's hot in there and there's the smells. And I was like, I'm growing a baby and there's construction outside. I was like, it's easier with my schedule to take him. But I was like, the experience of me being there, like, it's not, I need you to take him. And like, I still had to take him a few times after that. It wasn't like I put my foot down and then, because just sometimes the reality of the situation is that like his work day is not, he can't take him. But I was like, no, really, like, you need to move stuff around to take him because I am not doing that.
I think we'll have a second episode with you when the baby's here.
Oh, exciting. I know, I don't know how postpartum's going to go. I don't know what I'm going to be like without sleep. That's my thing that I'm nervous about, is lack of sleep.
Luckily, nature invented something called hormones,
which
just keep you going miraculously.
Yeah, that I heard somebody told me that they were like, we think of postpartum hormones as being, you know, like so bad, like they crash and everything, but also they help you stay up. And I was like, oh, I have thought a lot about how our body's designed for birth and it's natural, but I've never considered that the sleep deprivation the body might have prepared.
You still feel it, but you're not like, if I tell you now to not sleep for 3 days, you'll probably die.
No, I would.
You don't die.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm very curious. I wonder how that will be. But yeah, I'm so excited to have like my little baby. Yeah. So cute.
Thank you for coming, Kate.
Thanks for having me. This was lovely.
Really, I hope this gives lots of it, because pregnancy is actually a very joyful journey where you can also come into yourself, like draw boundaries, be like, I want to be comfortable. It's me deciding this journey. So it's beautiful to come into your own. And also feel like a proper grown up. Like pregnancy, like you buy a house, you buy a car, but once you have kids, you're like, okay, now
it's like, yeah, that's true. You get respect. But thank you so much for this podcast. I mean, one thing I love about pregnancy, I think, is that it does open up all of these connections with like other women or other people who've like had babies or are interested in having babies. It's like this intimate world that opens up, you know, and it's. But I mean, I've loved the episodes.
That's why I love podcasts, because it's just inside your ears, and nobody can hear what you're hearing, and it's like the circle of women that you're like initiated to. We look forward to your birth story, whatever it may be, whatever it may be. It will be wild. That's for sure.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you. I always forget the end. So this podcast was produced by Harkat Studios, and if you have any feedback or questions or just want to share your story, you can email us on 9+9, that's 9 as a number and then PLUS 9 at Harkat, HARKAT.in, and it's edited by Kiuri. Thank you very much for that. And if you have any feedback, I know I already said that, man, I'm going in loops. Yeah, you have to subscribe and you have to like and tell all your friends to follow us, and also rate the podcast on all podcasting platforms, which is Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also some other platforms which you can find us on, and YouTube, of course. So please like, subscribe, share, follow, tell your friends. Thank you. Hi, welcome to 9+9, the honest birthing and pregnancy. Oh, sorry, it's the other way around. Q is like, again. You made the title. How are you saying this wrong?